Thesis: a problem is intentionally created. March 2006. From Script website. Spanish version. Did you know that all the world's most ancient monuments line up with the star systems Orion, Leo, and Draco? Giza. The Egyptian pyramids are in the exact shape of the Orion constellation. Luminance reflected in the size of each pyramid, the central, once hidden and secret, shafts of the Great Pyramid all point to Orion, Sirius, Draco, Leo. You might think that the Sphinx is only 6,000 some odd years old, but it's not. Scientists now know that it's about 12,500 years old according to the physical wear of the rocks themselves from thousands of years of heavy rainfall weathering. Studies by John Anthony West and Professor Robert Schoch, Boston University. For the last few thousands of years, Egypt has been DRY. So how did the rocks become so heavily weathered by rainwater? Not wind erosion. If you go back to 10,500 BC, you have your answers. If you follow the precession of the Earth, the slow wobble of the Earth over thousands of years around the North Star, you will notice that the Sphinx points right to the constellation Leo on the spring equinox of every year back around 12,500 years ago, 10,500 BC. These ancient sites have been rebuilt many times, following the ancient blueprint of the original creators of these monuments, so they are very ancient indeed.
They call it ancient. I don't see nothing ancient as 12,000 over 500 years or 10,500 BC. I don't see it as so ancient. Ancient is something that goes back to 50,000 years ago minimum to 100,000 years ago, and not 20,000, 10,000. This one is modern, considered modern, and it's just like it has been yesterday, so I don't consider it modern or ancient at all. It's not ancient. Given the history of the earth, this is not ancient, this is very modern.
Indeed. Today the Sphinx currently points to Taurus, the bull, every spring equinox. So why is the Sphinx not a bull? Because it was most likely built in 10,500 BC, not 4,000 to 6,000 years ago. Angkor. The ancient temples in Cambodia have this exact same phenomena. They are built around an exact representation of the Draco constellation itself.
As well as the Borobudur, the Indonesian Bali. We have some in Thailand. We have some in Cambodia. There's Cambodian car. And also in India. Okay, they are all reptilians monument. And they are old, but I wouldn't say they are ancient, but they are quite well used, I would say, but not quite old, not very old.
Itself, star for star, an exact representation of the heavens done with a precision that no human on Earth today with all the technology we have can duplicate. And the temples all point to this same constellation, Draco the dragon, on the equinoxes of about 12,500 years ago, when they were first built. How many times have these ancient temples been rebuilt in order to maintain the message for humanity which we are still uncovering? There is an underwater ancient monument in Japan which also links to this chain of 10,500 BC. And as we shall soon see, so will the recent discovery of the ancient pyramids off the coast of Cuba. Orion, Sirius, Leo, and Draco, the dragon, the cornerstars of the ancient world on Earth in 10,500 BC. No matter where you might look in the ancient world, you will come across this same strange coincidence. If you are still of the thinking that it was Roswell where the first contact was made, that's what I call media think. It's easier to believe that Project Blue Book and other military science projects have only had ET contact recently and are just covering that up in the last 50 or so years, which is clearly not the case. ET contact goes way back into the ancient world. That's a mightily long time. How did I end up on this strange site? Do you believe in coincidence? I don't, but I do experience synchronicity constantly. I know you are here for a reason. Whether you came here by my handing you a card with this URL on it, or whether you happened to find me on your own, or whether a friend directed you here, or if you heard me on a recent radio interview, this path is yours alone to accept truth or pretend that this cannot possibly be real. Denial is not just a river on the Giza Plateau, however. By whatever means you ended up here on my page, it would be out of fear of the unknown that you would turn back now. Please, friend, do not be afraid of what you find here. It's just information. Follow your own reality and research to discover truth, but you will find out eventually that I am correct anyway. I get emails all the time from those who once mocked me years ago, and they attempt to say they are so very sorry for such offenses against my name and research. However, what's past has already been done. I mean you no harm, only to share with you as you rediscover yourself as I have rediscovered my own self. Please let me explain what I mean. Welcome to the outermost edge of the Matrix. The age that you are living in right now is the time that the ancient Mayans, Aztecs, Shaman, and many other ancient cultures spoke of, 1987 to 2012 AD, the harmonic convergence. The end of time as we know it. This was taught to the humans in that time by a plumed serpent, reptilian entity named Quetzalcoatl. One form of reptilian species has been evolving right alongside the human race since recorded history, and they have been interbreeding with us on regular intervals ever since time began for the human race. What would be their motivation for this behavior? Curiosity? Or perhaps a certain dependency on keeping humans as captives for some yet misunderstood purpose? We shall see as we unravel this secret tale and expose it to the light of truth. A segment of the Dead Sea Scrolls from the Testament of Amram. I saw watchers in my vision. Two beings were fighting over me, saying, and holding a great contest over me.
And me too, in 2020, they also were I mean, not they, but except the white dragon, the albino dragon, the others were, actually saw the black shadow ones fighting over me, saying that I should make a stand and I choose a side. And I didn't know what is going on, and I didn't want to take any side because I don't want to be pushed around. I don't want things to force me. So I didn't take any stand. I was still neutral. and he was pointing to the great white dragon, and saying that he's no good, he's not right for you. And meanwhile, the white dragon, all he did was looking at me peacefully. He didn't utter a word because he didn't want to fight, whereas this black being want to fight. Okay, so also this happened to me in August 2021 or 2020 during the pandemics.
Over me. I asked them, "Who are you, that you are thus empowered over me?" They answered me, "We have been empowered and rule over all mankind." They said to me, "Which of us do you choose to rule you?" I raised my eyes and looked. One of them was terrifying in his appearance, like a serpent, his cloak many-colored yet very dark. And I looked again, and, in his appearance, his visage like a viper. It's all about DNA manipulation and spiritual vision. This encounter that Amram speaks of sounds like more of an interdimensional contact than a classic ET encounter. Since 1987, the vibratory rate, Earth's Schumann resonance frequency of 7.83 Hz, has been on the rise after a very long period of stability, and it's heading for a multidimensional peak around 2012. 14 Hz peak. The Mayan calendar, with its most incredible accuracy, pinpoints 2012 as the end of a grand cycle of energy for humans and all life in this dimension. The veil lifts between our world and their world by 2012. Human DNA is evolving back into its original form against the will of those in power. Other eds who live amongst us right now are also mixing their DNA into our own to resist this shift in paradigm, as they fear losing control of humans in general. After living here as a human for so long, at times I understand their fears all too well. This planet is mid-shift right now. The vibratory rate of our sun has changed incredibly.
And that was back in 2006. This material is from 2006. So many things that have to happen during those times before 2022.
Since 1991, its magnetic poles have flipped over, causing massive solar upheaval. Time is speeding up, and the battle for the human soul is on. This shift is completely natural and happens on a regular occurrence. Babies who are born with AIDS can now heal themselves of this disease with their new superimmune systems due to these extra DNA strands. It's incredible what these newborn humans can do. They are more like it than humans. Nicola.
Not just them, not just these babies nowadays born during these times. My granddaughter, were born in 2007. Yes, she's a bright kid, but she's not very special. But she is bright, okay? She is just like any other ordinary girl, and so are the other children born slightly before, and later, 2007. And some people also born in the 60s, 50s, certainly so 60s, they do have a great will to heal themselves. They have very great will to heal themselves. Not necessarily the newborns nowadays. Some people born in the 60s can even heal their cancer or whatever disease they have, immune diseases, no, COVID on their own, they are very, very powerful minded. So not just the kids nowadays.
Nikola Tesla said, "Everything in the universe resonates at its own frequency, yet they all relate on a harmonic scale to each other. Understanding my work means understanding the key to the universe, resonance." Paraphrase: universal existence is like a song, with rhythm and harmonics, and it's going upwards one octave right now. The darkest aspect of the universe, aka satanic influence, has entered our reality here on Earth and has been running the show for some time now, since the last precession cycle. From within each and every individual who finds themselves focusing on chaotic control and destruction of others through fear. Ordo ab chaos. Illuminati, Masonic phrase. Whether it be for the death of free will or the death of the body, this dark thought form comes from the same inner place called fear. It has infested every aspect of our way of life, and the life of otherworldly beings as well. It is a virus in the program, a cancer, if you will, and does not represent the race, culture, or physical bodies of those who have become infected. Humanity is a hybrid ET race. Compare their natural behaviors with that of natural animals of Earth. Who's behaving more like a cancer? The animals? Or the humans who live in fear, killing their own kind needlessly? The NWO.
The animals, to me, they are more evolved. They are innocent and wonderful beings. Humans, the other end, has abused free will.
NWO is very real and has dark, sinister plots which go back as far as the ancient world and beyond to the stars and other dimensions where it began. Its key power is fear, sadly. How can this be so? I'll answer that with the words of Janet Swerdlow. How can a small group of beings gain control over a large group of beings without the large group even knowing that they are controlled? At first glance, this sounds like an outlandish and preposterous idea that this even could be done, much less is done. But take a look at this small, tight-knit group.
Simple because the human, the normal goyim, or the ordinary people, they are simpleton, they are simple-minded, and they can even sell their soul for money, for a little bit of money. They don't care. As long as somebody has money for them, they are okay, they are alright. They will kind of how to say, they overlook just about anything from the other party. Even if the other party is tie them up with a boulder and throw them in a deep water, they still will not protest, because as long as the other promise to pay them, that's okay. So how the human mind, collective mind work? Of course, obviously they work for money. They think all about money. They are bought by money. Okay, that's why they keep it quiet. That's why the minority, the power of money and the power of some knowledge that they has, succeeded and control the mass of cards.
Group. They have every physical need met. They do not have the outside distractions of the average human. They do not have to think or worry about food, shelter, income, and/or family stability. The wealth stays in the hands of these self-selected few. Their wealth gives them the power to create.
Yeah, correct. Power is knowledge. After all, and these beings do have a bit of technological knowledge, and if that they render the others hostage, because the others, as I say, they give away their power for money.
Create. Their wealth gives them the time to do it, as well as global access to all known resources. Now imagine this global collective of powerful beings having interdimensional affiliations with ET consciousness. Getting chills down your spine yet?
No, it doesn't give me any chill. It doesn't give me any chill. I don't care either way, and I knew it for a long time now, so I don't care anymore. Should it be? And the mix of fear-based mindset and press a big problem. No, I don't. That's not my case. Maybe the others, yes, because they are so desperate. They kind of, um, as I said, they love to be subjected as long as you have money and power. They are these submissive little mice.
Yet? You should be. Add to the mix a fear-based mindset and presto. Big problems. The Draco are here and we're not going to be able to understand them with our additional fear of their physical appearance or their secret control. Just picture yourself as a golden ancient warrior when you encounter any form of ET. Stand in your truth of compassion and love. Be fearless of the future. No.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do. And also I kind of make them flee with my song. Once they see my song, hear my song, they will flee. So that's how I do. I don't panic. I don't fret. I don't scream. Some males over there, some always male coming 5, 6, meet up with strange entities and still are scared. I'm not scared. I have encountered the worst things and I'm not scared at all. So when they sense your aura, they know that you are not scared, then they will not disturb you in any way or form. Also because you are being protected.
No matter what it looks like. You are looking directly in that moment at your own fate made manifest. Best to make a new friend than a new enemy. Picture of a Masonic hall. Click image to enlarge, inside and out. Rent the film, eyes wide shut, if you want a good example of how this fear-based type of situation plays out on a day-to-day basis. Thesis: a problem is intentionally created. Did you know that almost every single elected government official is a Freemason or Skull and Bones member? Don't you find that just a little strange? Coincidence? Did you also know that most of the US presidents are related to TWO single ancient royal bloodlines? Meaning that they might seem to have different last names, but every single time it's the person with the most royal genes who gets elected. Think about it. Elections are a scam. Just look at GW Bush. If it were actually possible to vote out secret society members, it would be illegal to do so. This is not just a situation which operates in the USA, it's happening in every country. They are lying to us, and we just sit back and eat it up as we watch the TV pumping our minds with a fake reality. Dare you to try to run for president and see what happens. Grave robbing is not the least of Skull and Bones crimes. Many may find it interesting that initiates also drink wine, blood from a human skull. George W. Bush claims to be a born-again Christian, while John Kerry claims to be Roman Catholic, yet they will not answer any questions of their affiliation with this order. Bush's conversion came years after his senior year at Yale, i.e., while he was living in Midland, Texas in the mid-1980s. If his conversion is true, then why won't he publicly sever his ties with Skull and Bones? Instead, he gets nervous and annoyed when questioned about it. The American people, and in fact the whole world, is affected by this secret society through the right arm of the USA, have a right to know why this college fraternity is so secret that both candidates for the US presidency refuse to speak of it. Most importantly, does the oath to Skull and Bones supersede all previous and future oaths, as is common in occult organizations, such as the Presidential Oath of Office? I think it would matter to most Americans if Bush or Kerry placed their hands on their Skull and Bones pin over their heart as they take the oath as president. Which allegiance is stronger? Which comes first? To become a highest degree Freemason, illuminated 33rd degree of the Scottish Rite Lodge, you have to have family already in the lodge typically. A reference will only get you through the first 3 degrees, the blue degrees, and then you stop or get sidetracked along another path. If you are not a family member, then you cannot achieve the highest degrees. You have to have a certain strand of DNA in your body, the same strand, which connects all the way back to the ancient world, which ensures your position of power over the rest of humanity. Why? Only chosen bloodlines get this privilege. Which ones, you ask? The ones which have the reptilian DNA encoding. Dragon bloodlines, also known as the Anunnaki in the Sumerian texts. This is their duty on the earth, to manage humanity until the return of their gods from other star systems or dimensions. Their bloodlines go beyond Atlantis and ancient Egypt back in time to whole other worlds. How to control anyone at any time. This is how directed mind media control is managed. The Hegelian dialectic is a technique commonly used to bring about a desired result. It is a 3-step process as follows. Antithesis, opposition to the problem, is created. Synthesis, the desired result is brought in as a solution. An example of this was in Germany when Adolf Hitler wanted to pass anti-terrorist legislation. Hitler wanted the power to detain people without question and hold them in custody without a court hearing. The people of Germany wanted no such thing. So Hitler had the Reichstag building burned to the ground. He then blamed terrorists for this terrible crime. The media portrayed the event as a danger to society and people's welfare. The people demanded something be done, so Hitler introduced his new anti-terrorist legislation with the people's consent. I hope this method sounds familiar to you because it is used in all aspects and at all levels of society. Pay attention to the anti-terrorist legislation being passed due to terrorist incidents which are occurring today. The people who do not understand these things are simply being deceived and yet know it not. Quoted from a friend of mine. What's happening to your rights and freedoms right now? The Patriot Act. Remember this before you turn on CNN and watch the World Trade Center reactionists persuade your thoughts on this matter. Before you decide what the real cause of the shuttle disaster is, remember everything you've learned here. The 9/11 event is not what it seems. From what we can tell, a select group used a remote control system called Global Hawk to take over and steer the jets electronically on that terrible day. Then they used Tesla's HARP in Alaska to pulse scalar waves of the buildings, turning the steel to jello. Why? To create fear and to enslave more NWO idealism into our world once again. Steel cannot melt at the temperatures that jet fuel burns at, period. A difference of more than 800 degrees. That's a truth that should keep you awake at night. Do your research. Reptile wars. Different groups, cults, secret societies, legions, collectives, and even individuals are fighting over the right to run this planet their way. This is happening on every level, battle of the bloodlines. If this were not true, then we wouldn't hear of this from both sides.
I just wonder who, after all, whom are behind the the NWO. Is it the occult government, the good entities, or the government itself? Who, or are they all in it together? Because in the conversations with God, you see that being, that in Tai Chi mentioned about New World Order, and here also it points out and touches on this subject and say that who wants it at the government here. So what is what, who is who? But I believe that they are all in it together. So this means that being that is behind that material conversations with God is lying. I don't know. Time will tell.
Sides in their attempt to expose the other side as evil. The Draco races which run one nation are against the Draco bloodlines of another nation, and so on, and so on. There's never a good reason for war. It's obvious that the so-called control of the human slave race is not working all that well, as we have learned so much from our controllers' mistakes. I truly wish things could be different.
If all of them who is fighting, if all of them who is fighting for us are of the same species, Then that speak of volumes about them. There's only them out there, as I have said earlier. I suspect that there were only them, but what they have is different factions, just as the human does. Human do have many factions, and these beings also do have many factions as well. So here we are, just fighting for us are dracos. Amazing.
Different. Only when all species decide to come together and make peace will there be true peace on this planet. There is no other way. If humans and reptoids continue to ignore this fact, both races will possibly die out during this shift in interdimensional frequency. Now is the time to realize that we are all ONE relation and not aliens to
No, yes, we are all one from the same tree. However, not everybody is going to die because there's no such thing as extinction. Even the paleontological animals did not die, but were transported and stored in another parallel fourth dimension world. They haven't been totally wiped out from the earth. Some from the earth yet, they have been transformed. They had died, but they still live on the fourth dimension. I mean the dinosaurs and tiger saber and all those kind of animals still lives here, but in the fourth dimension. I have seen them. I see them whenever I want to go and see them. I will see them at night. They will appear, start to come at the 10 in a very scary, spooky, freaky garden. Nobody there, only I and these creatures. Thus, they did not, they are not extincted. They are still living, but in another form. Okay, another kind of material, molecular material, more flimsy and fine, but can be seen through a camera lens.
each other's genetic history. We are all mixed blood to varying degrees. Not to mention that souls travel from one side to the other in this great karmic cycle. To kill off the Draco is to kill of your own brothers and sisters as well, and vice versa.
Yeah, I agree with that. Some time back I was kind of taking sides, but now I start to understand. That's why they give us time to understand it, to assimilate, and um, to come to a conclusion, to conform, you see. So when we accept things, it becomes easier for us to navigate this world and try not to, unless it's something evil that they are doing, don't judge, just let it go. So humans won't be extincted because there are still humans that decide, even if in fourth dimension, okay, and their DNA are stored as is of the dinosaurs and all those others who have lived, like the chimera, the elves. It's all been stored. They still live, but on that they are living in a parallel world, invisible to our naked, dense eyes, blind eyes to the other reality.
Versa. Stalemate. Then there are the Ancient Ones, not the Anunnaki, who are supposed to return to Earth shortly, the full-blood reptilians who are feared by the Anunnaki Draco races of Earth. It seems as if humans are being held hostage by the Draco. They are attempting.
Oh my gosh! Imagine they are trying to maybe the Elohim. They are the reptilians from Orion, the queen. The queen. They were the former beast. They have evolved from the beast and dragon from insect. the dragonflies and the bees, and they were the first to create eyes, okay? And they create this word, this library, and I think they are here. They are here, Fernando. Yeah, they are here, and they are here passing all this material. And I guess like when Spenar, they kind of disclose the agenda. Okay, some are in favor of them. They are more into the human, not human, human female side, and the Orion king dog in lions are very scared of them. They are the reptilians. They are the girls are very, 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 very violent and fierce, and they can kill you from I don't know how many meters by spitting venom in your eyes and blind you, just like the cobra that exists in Asia. Okay, and it's very fascinating, very, very fascinating, and I'm very glad to have known all this now, to have cover all this up to now and find out, and as I dig more and more and find out more and more, and I'm so happy. That's what give reason to my otherwise pathetic lifestyle. So because I don't like to also mix up people, so I rather go discuss about this paranormal thing which I love so much. I want to know the truth. Okay, but I want to I will try my best not to judge, not take side, but we stay in the middle. And they are here right now. They are the scientist one, and they have created many of the things here since been created by them. But the they have always been in war with each other. Sirius, dogs, and the reptilians, Orions, also known as eridus. They have been at war, always attacking each other. Many kill one another. I mean, the Sirius dogs killed the reptilian males from Orion, and the girls, the fierce girls, and they are all green or dark skinned, and they always, and they in turn, the queen commands. The queen is very high in technology, and then she sent out their people, have girls, which is oh my god, they're so fierce, and they're relentless. They don't stop at war and battle. I read that they won't stop at nothing until they destroy their enemies. That's the reptilian warriors guild. That's where the Amazon fables from the Greeks come about. And they had killed many chimera dog lion beings from Sirius, and to stop this war, senseless war to me, because I would rather see them as brothers and sisters than in this senseless war. To me, senseless. It's time for them to stop that, and I think they have stopped it by now. So what happened is to stop this war, the queen decided to give one of her daughters, a reptilian princess, in marriage to the king Anu of Sirius, the Canaan king, something like that. Canaan dogs from those dogs star. So she married that Anu, and she had Enki. No, I don't think she had Enki. Enki is from the slave, one black slave. She have Khan and Leo, and Ning Shida, Ning Ma, And that's it. I think she had only about 2 children. And then Enki, he mated with his sister, his half sister from father's side. And then they have Inina Ishtar. And I think it was Marduk is his son. Okay. And Jesus is either from Sirius, is either an Enki son, or he is the queen's son. So when they say in the name of the Father, the Spirit and the Holy Ghost, they are applying it to the Sirius family. Okay, they apply it to the Sirius family. I think Mary would be the Sirius queen who was a previous Orion princess, Mary the Maria that many people worship. The father is unknown and the son is Enki or Enlil, Kan Enlil. All this is a title. Kan Enlil may as well be the eagle boy Horus. The other is I think he's Anubis, the Enki is Anubis, the dog, the black dog. And he's now in full force around. And they also want to implement the new world order around here. And his daughter is Anu's granddaughter. And Anu, when they came here, they colonized here. Anu, the king of Sirius, decided to give Africa to Enki, and China as well, and India to Inanna Ishtar. And I think the Occident, it was Enlil, Kan Enlil, how to say, boundaries, something like that. He was in charge of it, the Occident. However, right now I feel that the brother Enki, he is making trouble in the domains of his brother Kan Enlil, and all those those flags that contains an eagle man, like Indonesia has called Garuda, and I think in India and many other countries in America, North America, and some countries in Europe do follow Enki. Okay, Enlil. He is Jehovah. If I don't make a mistake, he is Jehovah. And the accident was given to him. Enki governs mostly Africa, aside Egypt. I think Enlil also is in charge of the Middle East. So they are the Anu next, but however, before that, the Orion people, entities was already here. It's pretty much evolved with the living library here on Earth. So let's continue.
Attempting to stop all open contact with the positivists who have already arrived on Earth and are here to help humanity. What a mess.
Indeed, what a mess. And still they talk bad about real, but what a mess. Look at their lives, what a mess, really, indeed. Don't you just love all this unnecessary fight? No, I don't love at all.
Just love all.
I want peace, enough of fighting. I don't wanna fight no more. It's time to let it go.
All this unnecessary fighting. The following quote comes from a reptilian soul contact of mine who lives as a human on Earth presently as well. This message is so crucial for you to understand in your quest for a balanced truth. There are more than one race of reptilians involved in this war on Earth. Don't be fooled by single-mindedness.
So there's a many cast of reptilian here making war, and this war also involves what you have Cold War, like in Russia, that you have been in Middle East, Iran, etc., and almost all over. And they are involved, several factions of them are involved, as well as the Zeta Reticularis.
Sumerian texts.
The Zeta Reticularis were the one behind the Hitler resolution to kill only white people. He genocide the only white. Most of those, at least 98%, 97% were white people. The master plan was to liquidate and genocide whites. Okay, that was the master plan, and behind there were the tall grays. The tall grays that was dealing back then with Hitler. However, what I have seen in 2014, once the shorty Zeta, the shorty, big head one, there is many kind of Zeta, to tell you, many kind of what you call grays. For them, they may be called, say, Syray, and there's many type of them. I have seen three so far. One abducted me in 2014. Another one, I went to our OBE to Greece, and I see that they have been pretty much involved in wars there back in Greece that I didn't even know back then that it ever existed. Then I remember, Alexander the Great. And I have seen the Greys there manipulating the things, and I sniffing out the last energy from the cadavers that lays there in the trunk of the military truck. There were military truck back then already. I've seen in Greece. I cannot pinpoint the time, but I know it was the time of Alexander the Great. I was there. I was always seen the cliff downstairs. The place was so beautiful. The grass was so green, the middle. Now below there was a sea. And then there were army, militia truck. And I heard because I was on the fourth dimension, I could hear the dead people. They was carbonized. How they were carbonized? How they did carbonize it? I don't know. Bombs were thrown inside where they were, where the poor soldiers were, the Greek soldiers. And when I went there, there were canvas, greenish color, just like the militia nowadays. I lift up the canvas, and then I saw what looked like cadavers, corpses, in a row, like dozens of them inside the truck, all covered by canvas. Again, the same color on the canvas was greenish, greenish dark. And then I heard them moaning, help, because I was at the fourth dimension, so I could hear them, I could communicate with them, because I was not in the body, you understand? So I approached there, I heard the sounds, I lift up the canvas to help them, and they were all carbonized, and I actually saw grays, insectoid. The sight was incredible. spooky. I saw insectoid grays with those how to say this press bosses in the mouth like an insect. You know those things that they suck. Insect uses this press boss. I don't know the name. I forgot. It's a thing that stick out of their mouth to suck blood or suck the nectar from the flower like the bee. I saw the grays having that. At first I thought, hey, they are using straw, but I looked properly, I saw it was not straw at all. It was probos, that thing, that kind of straw-like thing that the insect use there to suck something, and they were sucking the last energy of that poor soul, sucking the energy of the astral body. It was like, what? And the people was asking me for help, so I was there to fight that battle. They were sent there for this assignment because some atheists do that, until you break ties with them. You can do that. You can request for break the contract, because if you are still within the contract, they keep on sending you for battles, and you come back super duper tired, exhausted, without energy. So I took the grays one by one by the hands. They were using that thing that they use, not the skin. They are not white. Inside that skin, they are darker. One kind of dark, like grayish black. That's why they are called grays, because they are grayish black. They wear a type of cloth that when I touch look like a marshmallow. Now I understand that one is a vest. It's a kind of space suit. That's not their skin color. They are much darker than that. So I took that, I pulled them by the hands, and I don't know how I could do that thing. I pulled each one of them by the hands because I was bigger than them in the fourth dimension. My God's self was so big. I pulled them one by one, and then I walk from the track to the cliff. Was more or less 500 meters. I walk all the way there and threw one by one down to the cliff to the ocean, one by one. And their vest was very soft like a cushion. So that was an amazing experience. After that, I was tired of these battles, OBE battles. I request them to stop and I break contract with them. Who helped me with that one is David Ibasi. Let's continue.
Confirmed that the elder gods, or Anunnaki, were, in fact, not the first gods on Earth. A race or races known as the Ancient Ones predated the arrival of the elder gods Anunnaki. The Ancient Ones had come from the stars many eons earlier and had established an extremely advanced culture.
I would say they come here 1 million years to 2 million years ago.
Subsequently caused immense problems after their arrival to Earth and a war broke out. It seems this was no small battle. Indeed, it changed the entire face of the Earth and irrevocably altered the course of life thereon. Note, the planet Tiamat was destroyed in this war, which we now call the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. Mars began to lose its atmosphere, which affected everything on its surface eventually, in this war between the Anunnaki and the Ancient Ones.
Tiamat is, if I don't make a mistake, if I still can remember, Tiamat means death in ancient Egyptian language. Tiamat. There's the only two things I know about Egypt. I knew the word, but I forgot. Mao means cat. It's the same word as the Chinese speak, Mao, because the Chinese also come from ancient Egypt. Before China, Korea, or Japan was other species of human over there. Chinese once down there near Egypt. It's almost the same place. Okay, down to Mongolia to ancient Egypt. The Chinese were there. That's why their language is almost, not say almost the same, but certain vocabulary is almost the same. So the cat's called Mao, which in the Portuguese language mean bad. Mao mean mal in the Latin mean mal, which mean evil one. So of course cat's not evil, not for me to.
Once. The Sumerian texts go on to say that the elder gods
Oh, they call it Mat, not Tiamat, Mat.
Anunnaki created mankind as a slave workforce for them to own and control as a prize for their winning this war. That's you and me. Were these Anunnaki the legendary dragons as some have suggested, or do the legends of these magical creatures and their nebulous world refer to the ancient race that existed prior to the arrival of the Anunnaki? Were they eradicated, modified by this invasion rebellion? There are many who view the Anunnaki genetic modifications of this planet as an upgrade to the race of beings existing on Earth at that time. But considering the overweening arrogance and warlike behavior of the Anunnaki themselves, and some of our worldly leaders who claim to be better descendants to their affiliation with various secret societies, the Freemasonic Lodge members, it makes one wonder. As a species, man has more genetic defects, diseases than any other. Was the Anunnaki gene manipulation an upgrade? Or was it in fact a downgrade?
It's a downgrade. I always say it's a downgrade, not an upgrade. And now they are trying again to manipulate our DNA. I think they're going to downgrade even more. Why? Because they know that the species now, bit by bit, are waking up. So they are upgrading their helix, this strand of DNA, which was switched it off from us. Thus, their planning is, if they win the war to Earth, they will downgrade us once more, make us a stupid amoebic kind of beings once more. Okay, because we are upgrade. At least most of us are. I would say maybe not most, but half of us.
Downgrade? Strangely, clearly states in the Sumerian text that the genes of the commander of the army of the ancient ones combined with Anunnaki genes were used to create man. Sounds like evidence for the true story behind the fall from paradise in the Bible. It may be seen as odd that the Anunnaki would combine their own genes with that of their ancient enemy. However, it seems that they viewed this as some type of punishment or binding of the spirit of the ancient.
No, what happened here is the following. What they did, they came here, they find these species that were a bit different and that make part of the Orion system. Okay, belong to the, not say belong, but made part of the queen. So what they did, they tried to exterminate all those already found in here to create yet another being. Okay, taken from some kind of Homo sapiens that was around here already when they first came. So they try to destroy the Namlu, and which had the red hair, which was the red-headed people, and they bring in another one. Okay, they transform that being, and they infiltrate through sex, I would say through sex, okay, through mating with humans. Inside the Bible talk about angels mating with the daughters of man. But it was not like this, and he also have made sex with a black lady in Africa. The first hybrid was not white as they say, but dark skinned. Okay? Called Adapa. Adapa went, they put on a helmet on Adapa. Adapa was bearded now. Put a helmet on Adapa. Place him inside a spacecraft, take him all the way to Nibiru. Going there, he presented him to Anu. He introduced him to Anu, his father. And upon arriving there, in Leo, who is a Hajahuba, he refused to bow down to Adapa, say that this Enki had shamed the Anunnaks, and that he had created a beast, and that he refused to bow down to that mankind. That's why in some religions texts, they would say just that Iblis refused to bow before Adam. Iblis is the devil, so they called in Leo the devil. So after that, Adapa came down to earth. His sister was Titi, and his sister Nima, something like that, Nishang, something like this. That is a very difficult name from the ancient Mesopotamian Sumerian texts. So she maybe she made with humans, male, of course, male, not the female, to produce also a couple of hybrids, named Adamu and Eve. That's why they grown up now cousins, right? The children of Enki and the children of Ning-Hersang were what? Cousins. And when Adapa grew up, he met Eve, who was his cousin, never ever the sister. Cousins. They mate. And when they mate, they start to produce offspring. Maybe some offspring were red-headed, some have blonde hair, But the first hybrids of this Homo sapiens number 2, version 2, were dark-skinned, just like Enki and Nihusag, who too were a dark girl. Okay, because most of the Anunnakis are dark, but not some. They say some, which is the lion mane, has red hair. Yeah, red hair or blondish hair. So, but these ones, they say that they were dark, the Anunnakis were dark. How true is this? I don't know, but I've heard from the Winspar paper that these beings were once, I don't know whether Winspar or other material source. They say that they had the Sirius was a beast, and their mane were blondish, dark blonde or reddish or brownish brunette. Okay, and that, well, that's how things started. So this is offspring hybrid. Um, they were Homo sapiens version 2. They were mixed people. Then after that, they spread it west, but in the west already there were other beings, maybe the Neanderthal, Cro-Magnon. There were other kind of beings already. So they wanted the one the Anunnaki didn't create them. But they too start to genocide all of them because they don't want no trace of Orion. Because they want to genocide everything that they create, destroy all, and then start from scratch with their own production, their own creation, their own DNA. It was like this, how it is occurred back then.
Ancient ones. According to Sumerian sacred texts, the elder gods, the Anunnaki, battled with and destroyed the ancient ones, and specifically Tiamat, their queen, the Ancient of Days, who is described as a great wicked serpent or mighty dragon. Also described are her many strange allies, serpent men, dragons, sphinxes, lion men, centaurs, dog men, and scorpion men. The Titanic battle.
Alright. So you painted the queen as a beast, isn't that horrible, great wicked serpent? However, you need to remember one thing, that before the Anunnakis came over, they already found their own the queen library here, living library. It was the Pangea time, the Pengi, where the world were the only one who didn't have this division. Africa, we didn't have what we know as Europe or Australasia or Americas. There's no such thing. Whole wild world was a single continent, and it was in this time that they start to create all these things that they show here: werewolf, chimera, sphinxes, Bigfoot, Doyanti, lion man, centaurs, dog, werewolves, and scorpion man, and scorpion woman, and also the spider scorpion girl. Jews, it were already here, you see. It were already here, and they are still around. They are still around. They are not. Some of them have gone, some not. But some is another part of the world. In each continent there's some centaurs, in other continent there's werewolves. Some have the beast, like you know that beast from the Bell in the Beast, Beauty and the Beast. That one exists. That is real. That's the real one. He's from Sirius. And they are still around here. That's a true story, you know. So before they came here, there were already all these. So who are they to judge? Who are you to judge the queen?
Battle raged for 10 years or more, laying waste to the earth and its inhabitants. The Anunnaki eventually won the battle, and they divided up parts of the earth between them. It is only after this that humankind was created as a slave race. The Anunnaki were a race of warlords, for they often fought amongst themselves and involved humans in their endless power struggles and petty jealousies.
And it says,
Note, jealousy is a dead giveaway. As for the obvious differences between the different reptoid races, it has been said that the myths of centaurs, satyrs, unicorns, dragons, elves, etc. were the results of early genetic experiments of the Anunnaki, but the Sumerian texts state that creatures and monsters were allies of Tiamat. Were the original dragons, elves, fairer folk, in fact, the ancient ones spoken of in the texts?
They were from Pangea or Pangi.
Did the Anunnaki destroy a civilization, the mythical land before time, before common report?
Yeah, the Peter Pan land, never-ending story. That one depicts a lot of the truth. And back then, you see how they they try to depict that story. That movie come out in the 80s. I was a teenager back then. Never-ending story. Life without will fall behind the sun. Waiting for the rainbow is the answer to a never-ending story. In that story, they were the dragons, white dragons, were against the wolves, the black wolves, which depicts Enki. Oh wow! Oh ow! And I was thinking, my God, why are they against the wolves for? The white dragon against the black wolf. And that's the through this kind of story, indirectly they try to show you how things happened. It's the same thing as Beauty and the Beast depicts the princess of Orion, the reptilian princess, and the beast of Sirius, the dog king mixed with lion.
Reported time, and by tampering with genetic codes, attempt genocide on a global scale and deliberately conceal any memory of or reference to this civilization. Did they teach mankind wonders, or did they just twist and pervert ancient wisdom? Note, some clues are contained in the Vatican secret archives. No doubt there were runaway slaves hidden in the caverns of the earth, and also other survivors who had escaped the
Runaway slaves hidden in the caverns of the earth and other survivors who had escaped the uncommercial anarchy and the captive breeding programs. The runaway slaves could as well be in the Atlantis, being that the ran away to the whole earth after the Anunnakis coming and throw a nuclear bomb. Nuclear bomb is nothing new. Some have been thrown in the Dead Sea. Then is Jerusalem. That's why the sea is called dead, because a nuclear bomb was thrown there. Some have been thrown in India. If you look at the Indian history, you're gonna see also a lot of upheaval, a lot of turbulence, a lot of wars. Okay, and then now we have Atlantis that made part of from Greece to what's now the UK. It was Iceland, which make part of the Basque, some part of the Basque, Spain, the Iberia, and Greece and UK. And as some they have links to Americas. Over in Americas was there were Atlantis. They called it the Crystal City. There were a lot of shamans and stuff there. They have very high telepathic power, high technology, very advanced and developed societies. But the jealousy, the anger of the Anunnaks, who now comes from the east, they bring it destruction to the Americas and the Atlantis in Europe, and they threw a bomb there, nuclear bomb. Then it took over 200,000 years for the dust from the nuclear bomb to settle down and for life to regrow again. Why did they do that? Because they want to destroy the queens living in Liberia. They want to destroy the queens living in Liberia. The Pleiadians also make part of this Orion empire. And many of these people, now humanoid, had been genocided. The one that escaped have flee down to the hollow earth, and then they asked to put down in their holy text that it was the fallen angels. Actually, it was one of the primordial beings found on earth before even they came in a set foot here.
Unwelcome attentions of the Anunnaki and their captive breeding programs. The texts tell us that there were renegade Anunnaki as well, and it's speculated that Enki himself may have returned to the underworld. From these came the myths of Hollow Earth, Shambhala, Agartha.
What? Enki was on the underworld from Shambhala of a hollow earth. What he was doing there? Did they set bases there at that time when they destroyed the Atlantis? And also Atlantis made part of the Antarctic, what's now Antarctica. So there's many things buried there in that sea of Antarctica Sea. Also the Great Lake of Eurasian, where else? In the Caribbeans, my God. Canada, over there, that ocean, it hides a lot of secret. Want to try the luck and it's courageous enough to go there to the bottom of the ocean. You're gonna see a lot of really ancient artifacts that dates back to more or less 200,000 years or more over there. And also the Mariana Trenches. Oh my God. That one is a way, is a portal to the hollow earth. Don't play in there, you may get into trouble. You may not come back alive. And also there are crystal city buried in the Central Americas. They're from Caribbean to the other party there of Central Americas to Costa Rica. Okay, and up down to Canada, down to the Amazon. The Amazon is the pyramids. There's a lost city. There's much I can say, a lost city of Atlantis. But you cannot, I would advise you not to go there because it is well protected. Yeah, you can destroy, go ahead and look, but you cannot go beyond those caverns. It's a channel, it's a kind of a network of caves in there. I'm not gonna say where exactly is the point, but I know it's in South America. Lake Titicaca in Peru also keeps a lot of secret there, as well as Machu Picchu and Lake Titicaca. And that, I don't know where the part is there in United States, USA, There is a place there where the water is so beautiful, the nature is amazing, where there's a lot of crystal, colorful like pebble over there. Also, there's a point there, Mount Shasta. Many party there, California, New Mexico, you name it, all down to South America. There has been a great civilization flourishing there, and some of us here made part of that world. We were the children of one, and that's why we remember. Okay, we remember, and that's why these these forces, opposite forces, they try to take our eyes away from this remembrance. They shift the eyes to the other continents because they don't want us to remember 501 million years ago, 500,000 years in the making, when we were there. So let's continue.
No doubt there were runaway slaves hidden in the caverns of the earth, and also other survivors who had escaped the unwelcome attentions of the Anunnaki and their captive breeding programs. The texts tell us that there were renegade Anunnaki as well, and it's speculated that Enki himself may have returned to the underworld. From these came the myths of Hollow Earth, Shambhala, Agartha, and legends of great treasures and mines guarded by the gnomes. Elves and others may have taken refuge in the mountains and forests and desolate places, giving rise to their own myths.
Yeah, also have seen them, and they are in Florida, especially so in Europe. In Canada, there's no much. Canada is more Yeti, the Bigfoot, and other creatures. They're very terrifying ones, over 7 foot tall. In Asia, there's this dinosaur-like creatures or the beasts, and the lion also I've seen, and also I have seen the dogs. I don't know if the werewolves or what, but he came with this man who was from Syria. He's a Sananda. He always is surrounded by a black guy and the elves. Not the werewolves, the dogs, dog men, not the elves, dog. The elves became the elementals created by the Orion Empire, and they inhabit caverns or underneath the ground. You cannot see them. If you want to take them, you couldn't, because they are multi-dimensional. They can disappear will, so you cannot access them. Okay. Also, I have seen them, the same elves with Sananda and a woman. This woman have fair skin, and she have a very dark jetty hair, very straight and black. She is slim and more or less 5'9", around this range, 1 meter 60, 70, slim, and she's always in the company of Sananda and also some dogs. These dogs look just like any human here. They are not the elves. They inhabit places like anywhere, but they also in the ocean. Wherever there's cave or rocks in the ocean, they are there. and they don't get wet. Why? Because they are in the fourth dimension. They cannot get wet, even if they wanted to.
Myth. As the world came more and more under the influence of the Anunnaki, many of these too may have fled below the surface. It is well documented that there are vast networks of tunnels and huge caverns beneath the earth, some caused by volcanic activity,
Exactly.
some artificial in origin. Note, many military bases connect with these deep inner world systems.
Wow.
Many strange cults sprang from these stories, many of which persist to this very day, which in itself has caused much mischief.
Wow.
It appears these elder gods, Anunnaki, were terrified of the ancient ones and dreaded their foretold return, fearing that they would reclaim the earth and take revenge on them.
What? Also, they have meeting. They, Luciferian and Key, and others have meeting every Friday in the morning with certain people out here. Okay, certain people. I'm not saying it's not the common people. And over there, they go to the 34th dimension, and there's a lot of it happening over there. A lot of it happening. I would say rendezvous of the most wicked, dirty type.
Note, but we have been treated so well by our leaders, whatever gave them anything to fear. For this reason they devised many magical and other occult diverse means to prevent this from occurring. Note, also military projects such as HAARP, a global Tesla shield around the planet. After all, this would mean that the slave race that the Anunnaki had created, and who contained the genetic codes of the ancient ones, might awaken after global contact with the ancient ones and seek their freedom. One can see why this would cause the Anunnaki overlords to be terror-stricken, to lose their control over us, and would necessitate stringent control measures be imposed on humanity. Thus was born religion and other hierarchical structures of control, suppression, and subjugation. Note, science, paranormal organizations, and even New Age authors, and what of humans, the odd genetic consequence of all this meddling? Is this the reason why humanity seems to be suffering from collective post-traumatic stress disorder? As it says in the Sumerian texts, man is born of sadness, for he is of the blood of the ancient ones, but has the spirit of the elder gods breathed into him. And his
did not have nothing of being called. Jesus said, this world is a valley of tears, and so did Muhammad. Yeah, it do rings a bell.
heart goes to the ancient ones, but his mind is turned towards the elder gods, and this is the war which shall be always fought, unto the last generation of man, for the world is unnatural. Does this not imply that the previously understood natural order was disrupted in some fundamental way when the civilization of the ancients was destroyed? Is the famous cradle of civilization in reality a coffin of a bygone golden age lost in the mists of time? We are told that civilization abruptly emerged 6,000 to 8,000 years ago in ancient Sumer, now known as Iraq. Interestingly, could it be?
When they talk about Africa or about Sama or about Sumeria, which is Sumeria, or about Mesopotamia, or about Babylonia, which is now modern day Iraq. They mean it is the modern times. Modern times. It's not ancient time, not the ancient times, okay? It's not. The ancient times was different, much more different, and it dates back to about 2 million, 5 million years ago, and not a mere babies yesterday, 5,000, 6,000, 10,000, even 20,000. Still very early considered of the time frame of this world.
That at that time everything was altered by belligerent beings with dubious intent and ruthless methods. In the texts, the Anunnaki demonstrate their fear and hatred of the Ancient Ones by describing them as crawling chaos and blaming them for all manner of hideous horror. But the texts also reveal the Anunnaki themselves as a fierce, lustful, incestuous, bloodthirsty, deceitful, jealous, and conquering race.
Yeah, you see the hypocrisy, they commit incestus, all this, and they fight, and then they turn around and I blame the others. How can I blame others when I do worse? When I do worse than the others? Am I not being hypocrite? Just this is story about I don't know who is the one who kills the dragon. The dragon see the Saint George, something like that. There's a dragon below the horse, and then he pins the dragon with a spade. Yeah, this is what they mean, because this dragon came from where? Orion Empire.
Race with a vested interest in keeping their creations ignorant about their true origins. Note, oh yeah? Where's the proof? That being the case, we can speculate that the ways of the Ancient Ones were diametrically opposed to those of the Anunnaki. Were the Ancient Ones aware of and did they utilize chaos theory?
Opposed to those of the Anunnaki were the Ancient Ones aware of and did they utilize chaos theory, the fractal nature of consciousness.
Theory and the fractal nature of consciousness in the creation of their forgotten world. And humanity, blissfully unaware of all this for the most part, still struggles on living the lies and bearing the terrible karmic burden of these unspeakable deeds. In conclusion, it is also written in the very same Sumerian texts. Know that Tiamat seeks ever to rise to the stars, and when the upper is united to the lower, then a new age will come of earth, and the serpent shall be made whole, and the waters will be as one.
And then what I would say, I wanted to say something, I forgot, I lost my thought of line, my line of thought.
1 inch. Source, dracos, name withheld for reasons of privacy. I can tell you from first-hand experience that reptilian researchers are battling it out right now in this arena. This truly is reptile wars. It seems that many, if not all, reptilian researchers are under some kind of influence in their behavior and attitudes towards each other. Is this evidence of a higher force toying with humanity? This really makes me angry. Why? Because nothing can be accomplished as long as there is this massive amount of infighting and personal slander going on, which means all this research is in vain and quite probably somewhat controlled. Unfortunately, I have been dragged right into the center of this mess due to my openness about my identity as a multidimensional being. I came here to make a difference for the positive. My motives are open for all to see. I act on peace, not warmongering. Warmongers don't preach peace. They blame others for their problems as the enemy to destroy. General frustrations with humanity from those who are awake are normal, but not to the point.
Humanity from those who are awake is normal, but not to the
Point where suggestions to kill off entire species are the suggested.
So when they killed the purpose for them, the reason for them to kill the former species to Earth was to profess and to gain ownership to us. So wants to give the false perception that they were the first, the primordials, when they weren't. They just weren't.
Answer. It's completely arrogant to suggest such a thing. Be aware that extreme amounts of trickery exist in this field, and many reptilian researchers will do their best to slander each other behind their backs. Before the fall of humanity, a whole other world was once here on Earth, long ago, which today would be completely unrecognizable. It used to be more like Star Wars back in the days of Atlantis, but that time is long gone, yet may soon return. One method was to rule for control of sex, money, and the physical pleasures and entertainment, pure indulgence. Sound familiar? CIA and the porn industry preying upon a sexually starved.
No, there's something wrong here about Atlantis. Atlantis is not what you make it up to be. It was a developed, civilized society and empire. They did commerce. Yeah, they have high technology, but so what? If they combined wisdom with technology, because technology without wisdom is a catastrophe. And then wisdom without technology is primitiveness. So they have to combine both to integrate it into that society. And it was not what you all profess here. Definitely not. There has been a slander against Atlantis. This all lie. I don't buy that. I'm sorry. I feel like I have been there, and I don't buy it.
Starved culture out of balance within itself. The other was to rule by spiritual enlightenment and higher understanding primarily. This was written down in Sumerian text as the battle between Enki and Enlil, two reptilian brothers. The final battle, which tore a hole in space-time, permanently damaging human DNA, happened back in Atlantis.
Wait a minute. Enki and Enlil isn't quite a reptilian, rather a dragon. They are dracos. They are not quite reptilians. They are dracos. They are from Sirius. See something wrong here, because it was still very early for them to break down things and understand better and absorb and then discussing getting the information. So they didn't know better back then in 2006.
Casey for the details. The sons of Belial, physical pleasures, seem to have been running the show ever since, while the survivors of the Law of One have been attempting to regain
The law of one has been not in Egypt but Atlantis. Things has been twisted. That's why it's all very complicated. Because there's a lot of entities who lies through the information.
Regain control by
I
calling
call
upon
up
their
the
ET
ET
contacts for help this whole time. And
And
once
once
again
again,
these laws
the
of
laws of
non-interference have
non-interference
gotten in the way of
have gotten in the
assistance for
way of
humanity,
assistance to
and here we
humanity.
are as a result.
Here we are as a result.
Many
Yeah, indeed, I don't understand that. I don't understand how they abdicate this no-interference rule. Why can't they interfere? Because they don't want, maybe they are so traumatized by wars in the past that they don't want it to repeat. So they don't want trouble because they don't want each other to know about each other. Who is giving up information to those species here? They don't want to disclose it. They don't want to appear because they are too afraid that there will be a bad repercussion, and so they won't show up. They are afraid. Okay, so that's why we have all these divergences.
diverse cultures survived this great catastrophe and global upheaval, but only just barely. Most of this ancient world is now long forgot as we marvel over the wonders of the world. In Africa and in other surviving cultures, they have always had knowledge of the star Sirius B, star that we couldn't even see until the
Now you see, Africa and the so-called shamans from the Native Americans, as you call them, they hail from Africa, okay, Chinese also, because it's almost the same race in way. So these people, they follow Sirius. They once worshipped the Anunnakis Sirius, and Enki was the Quetzalcoatl, something like that, that has passed them knowledge. And also is called Veracusa, who came to the Mayans to pass down knowledge about agriculture, astronomy, maths, etc., and taught them the zero. You understand? Because they come from Africa, and all this religion follows what? Sirius. Who are Sirius? Anunnakis. This man here is twisting everything. Actually, he's not pro-Orion. He's pro-Sirius. That's why he's pulling the fish to his side. You understand? However, as been said before, Anunnakis are from Sirius. Sirius A, B, C doesn't matter. Or it does matter, I don't know, but most of them, some governs the dogmas, the cult, which is magical cult, all to do with the elementals, the forest, and the herbs, etc. was taken away from Orion, and others, they Sirius A or Sirius C, they are more pro like organized religions. So over there is the cradle of religion. Sirius star system or the dog system is the star religion system. Okay, but they have no much to do with the dogs here, because I believe that they came here, they find the dogs, and they just transport them to other constellation, another kind of system. But having nothing to do with wolves, from Earth, no, not much. The wolves are just a representation of them, but they are not quite relative to the wolves. And were they who created religions, and that's why these Mayans, Aztec, all know about it, because they passing information to these people about different timelines, end of time, etc. Unless it is the other way around, is the Orion entities, reptilian beings who are now very active, passing down messages through eyes for the masses. Okay, to overthrow the Sirius system. But overall, I know that Sirius is the one that the controllers. They are the controllers, the alien invaders controllers.
Advent of very powerful telescopes. How did they know of this world, and why were they so influenced by this invisible star? They also speak
Because their gods are from there and they have a relation with them. That's simple as 1 plus 1, 2, 2 plus 2, 4, 4 plus 2, 8, 8 plus 8, 16, and so on and so forth.
speak of the planet Tiamat that was destroyed, which we now call the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. They also say that Mars once had life on it which was transplanted on Earth. The blonde hair, blue-eyed form in particular, don't believe that one. Science has said life on Mars was possible due to the evidence of massive amounts of magnetite, organic brain component, presently discovered on Mars, as well as the massive amounts of evidence for ancient oceans. Who lived there? Where did they go? Evidence of a previous catastrophe would be the planet-wide surface crack several times larger than the Grand Canyon, Valles Marineris, and the volcano, Olympus Mons, larger than Mount Everest by several times over. Science seems to be discovering that this was not from the planet's formation, but an event which happened later on, more recently. Valles Marineris, Olympus Mons. Not to mention the face and pyramids on Mars of the Cydonia region of Richard Hoagland fame. Question: how could this happen? A. One possibility is Planet X, Nibiru or Nemesis, which is a dark star, brown dwarf or black sun, which orbits between deep space, well past Pluto, and Mars, that returns here about every 3,600 to 30,000 years or so, causing massive flooding, the effects of magnetism and gravity on the ocean and ecosystems, and global weather changes. Little is known about Nibiru except for what's written in, once again, the Sumerian texts. Some cultures have survived with this ancient knowledge intact. Imagine, if you will, a planet as dense and large as Jupiter swinging around the Earth faster than anything known to us currently. Yes, 200-foot high waves would now seem very probable, and indeed the many ancient texts speak of exactly this fact. Noah and the Great Flood, for instance. The sun is also severely affected.
Noah and the Great Flood, for instance. Those suns are severely affected. It's massive size of the giant. It's massive magnetic.
Affected by this massive sun-sized giant and its massive magnetic field, which we have been.
I believe that Nibiru is nothing but kind of a device is shaped like a ellipson, something like that, one kind of cylinder, in which the Hindus call lingam, and it represents the dragon tail. It's a Ketu, not Rahu. Ketu. Rahu is the dragon head, and Ketu, Keru, is a dragon tail. And so I believe that Nibiru is the one. So once they go around, they cause instability in a molecular level in the energy of the planet. Okay, so what they do, they affect our social, economic, political, all over in the whole system of the planet where they go. They pass by, they will affect, and they stay there for months. And after that, they dissipate for a while, they distance themselves, and then later they return again to steal more havoc. Rahu gives, whereas Ketu, he takes away as a form of trigger you to learn a lesson, so to speak.
Been witnessing since about 1991 as our sun has completely changed. When shall Nibiru return? No one has seen it yet, but its effects seem to be happening right now all around us and are increasing every day. Whitley Strieber and Art Bell's The Coming Global Superstorm is a great book on this subject. Too much to be true? How about a scientific study report on the subject for now? It would seem that we, at the very least, lost an inner battle to some very dark astral entities who enslaved us on Earth, and we are the survivors of that ancient war. Atlantis, in power over humans, is a common corporate theme in their secret symbolism.
Okay, we are the survivors of that ancient war. Atlantis in power over humans. It's a common corporate theme and the secret symbology in law. Correct.
Symbology
We are
and
the
logo.
survivors of Atlantis. It was not in Africa as they supposed to be, but rather in this place, this region where I pointed out. On that they had some trade with Egypt, which was called Lumeria, made part of the Lumeria Empire. Okay, but in the end they were enemies. Lumeria and Atlantis was enemy, not friends. But they still try to get along together, even though they disagreed in many things. Those Atlantis was not Egypt, rather Americas up to Canada. I always knew it since the 80s. From down to Russia, near the Antarctica, down to Russia, Greece, Basques, Iberia, Americas, South America, there were Atlantis. And the people were pretty much different, very tall, and well, they were not the people that we see right now. Maybe the soul, I don't know, but the body, the race was totally different.
These aliens have been hiding in the fourth dimension, lower astral, ever since. The pit, or hell in the Bible, manipulating us with fake religions and limited science so they can maximize their time playing with our spiritual limitations and muck about with our DNA through alien abductions and the grid energies of the planet even further and milk human energy for all it's worth, just like in the movie They Live. They steal our true history from us and hide it in their Vatican archives. By now you've watched the movie Matrix, so you already have some idea what we are up against here. I also hope some of you remember the TV miniseries called V.
Yes, I remember V very much. Many other moves. All good and variety examples of near probable futures we'll have to face sooner or later. True. They just depict, they just show us before happened. Or what already had happened in the past. It's not necessarily the future, unless it is revisited. Rather, it is the past. However, past, present, and future are all now existent. But for us, I'm saying in human terms, yeah, there's a division, a line division between past, present, and future. And the past is being revisited now. From time to time, they repeat the same song again, and again.
Good and varied examples of near probable futures we'll have to face sooner or later. As our planet increases its vibrational frequency beings, often reptilian-looking entities are finding it almost impossible to maintain their alternate human form. This entire struggle is being watched very closely right now by many diverse beings, worlds, and entities beyond our current ability to sense them. Other beings, sometimes referred to as the ancient astronauts, are returning to Earth also, but not before we prove ourselves worthy, that we can rid this world of certain evil, hateful behaviors from within ourselves, such as passive-aggressive carelessness about our fellow people, neo-Nazism against our own people, and fear-based reactions to the truth, etc.
We must rid our planet. We also must rid our planet of dualism and of fear-based side taking. We must have an arbitrary approach to this situation, this condition. Okay, so the truth here would be objective, because it's always changing, it is never constant, so you cannot ultimately say that it is a ultimate truth. It could be my truth, your truth, his truth, her truth, their truth, but not mine, not yours truth. Okay, so you cannot say until you can prove that you have absolute you're absolute certain of what you are saying. We cannot say that this will be the ultimate truth, but just is a hypothesis. I speak for myself as well, not for this person here. So I don't know what he talks about. We must rid our planet of the dark shadow beings which now inhabit every aspect of power in both government and secret societies. I don't know whether they are saying that these beings is the same as the ones embodied here who governs everything and controls everything. I don't know, and they are the dark shadows, which, by the way, I have seen a lot since I was a 7-year-old, and they don't have a form, they are formless, they don't have eyes or mouth, nothing. They are just a form of a man, but without any features. And they are very sinister, they don't speak, they just stand there looking at you. So could they be the one, the secret governments that control us from within? I don't know. But then where do Anunnakis stand and all that? There's the question to be asked. Hmm? Is it the black magus, the Anunnakis, um, devil's advocate? Who knows? I don't know.
Planet of the dark shadow beings, which now inhabit every aspect of power in both government and secret societies. This is how the secret controllers of this planet have gotten away with their dastardly deeds and high-level secrets, black projects like Area 51, Dulce secret underground base, the Philadelphia experiments, Montauk, Harp, etc., for so long. Many of these people in power aren't even human by our civilian terms, but are more alien in nature. They have deep interdimensional connection.
We see only their physical body.
We see only their physical body rather than their true form.
Much longer, I can
well,
assure
not
you.
for much longer, I can assure you. More and more humans are waking up to the fact that reptilian entities are being witnessed by hundreds of people, far and wide, in positions of power or influence in this world, and that these beings can shimmer between forms at will. And I'm not talking just about the research that David has exposed either. It's getting harder and harder with the Earth's raising vibrational frequency for these aliens to maintain human form, and they are being seen more and more every day. After all, they can't control the people who discover that they have not truly been free for over 12,500 years or longer, but rather have been used by psychic energy vampires as livestock.
Wait a minute. We are not being slave for on this lifespan. No, we have been slaved for over 300 plus years, 300,000 plus years. Almost 200 years after they first came here. They are next from Sirius. So no. There's not only this. This is very recently, very modern. It's more than that. The dates back farther than that.
Livestock. Important fact. Not all reptilians act this way, just a rogue group of beings who are here amongst us, and not even all of them agree with this plan for total control. In fact, many reptilians are doing something about this right now. We are all individuals, human or otherwise. The great battle from within is here and now. However, spiritual possession is still a problem and can turn entire leagues of beings into zombified, hive-minded oppressors. This is the toughest part. It's this particular reptilian DNA code that many secret societies desire to keep in power in order to maintain contact with these interdimensional, fourth dimension entities who donated their reptilian DNA to humanity eons ago. Please note, group mind is like a communal collective of consenting individuals, almost telepathic in nature. Hive mind is more like ONE mind controlling the entire lot, often with a secret agenda. Gifted psychics can see us ET incarnate souls easily. There is no such thing as death. There never was.
It's not that we can see. We can sense that the entity nearby us. Among even the people who are related to us, we can sense who are they, by their behavior, by their sense. Okay, As to pertain to death, that is a very complicated issue. Okay, there is no such thing as a death. Well, it is a very, how to say, it's a very dichotomic issue. It's just change form. Look at all the schizophrenia. There's no what happens when one people doesn't die, but they have a NDE. Okay, NDE is that they are still alive. They are not dead. The big death haven't happened to them, to us yet. What happened is they have like a coma, or their heart stops, but they are still connected with the physical pretty much through a cord, a silver cord, which links the physical to this causal astral ethereal body. Now, once you have a NDA, which is the same as OBE, almost the same, only that one, the first, you need to be under drugs or some the influence of the other substances, like a stroke or something, which messes with your brain neurons and causes hallucination. The other is you sometimes involuntarily and sometimes voluntarily through meditation, if you will get out of the body momentarily, but you are not dead. You are not dead. You are still alive because you are still breathing. There's still the atma still connected with the astral body and the cord. What goes is your consciousness. Everything is about consciousness. First of all, we are made up, composed of body, mind. I would speak what's more important: consciousness, astral body, which is a borrowed program, and the physical body, which also belongs to the earth, and to the earth shall return. The astral body, in other hands, belongs to the astral. Now, when you die, you are either, let's say, incinerated, cremated by fire, and the fire forever, or you are buried and then you decompose. Okay? While this process unravel is going on, you are still creating, because your mind is there in all fiber of your body, of your physical body. So you are there on the grave, or maybe you have been cremated. When you are cremated, your consciousness goes straight to the atoms, to the cosmos. It melds with the cosmos, goes back to self. This doesn't happen if with a burial. Burial, you're going through the process of decomposition, where the mind is ethereal body and the causal body is still there in the flesh being decomposed. There's fragment of it. So you can create with your body. You can go around. You want to go back to your infancy, you go back to your hometown, you can go. You want to go back to visit your relatives, you go. However, you still have a memory of yourself. Okay, you still have a memory. Let's say, okay, I'm in memory. Oh, I died. Then I go and then I say, oh, I'm in memory yet. Oh, my body's there. It's decomposing. I'm dead. Why then I'm still here? My body's there, but why am I here? I'm there, but why am I here? What happened to me? And then the entity becomes a bit confusing. Then he don't say, he thoughts, I want to go visit my mom now. Then he soup in a nanosecond thought, they are there, and they are on the sky, in the not say heavens, but in the sky near there, the cosmos, above the atmosphere, wherever you wanna go. Okay, you are omnipresent, so you can be in several places at the same time. Several places at the same time. In several places on earth, you can visit your uncle, visit your grandfather, visit your friends, your husband, your boyfriend, your wife, your friend. You understand? All at once. You can, long time ago, at the time of my brother, he dies in 73, he could keep on creating this, and sometimes it was a terrible experience for him, because I have accompanied his journey, even though I was a young child and I didn't know what's going on. He died at age 21, a very tragic death. I was 8-year old, and I didn't understand, so I was growing. As I continued to see him, I was around a teenager. Now he kept on coming to me. When I become a teenager, he kept on coming to me, appear before me, always happy, always smiling, always on the beach side, just the head floating. Why? Nobody knew. I was a child. Nobody told told me about nothing. All I knew is that his body was never found, and it was a very great trauma for my mother. She passed the year trying to recovering from this shock of losing one of her sons. Okay, her second oldest son, by the way. And I start to see him. He come to me, and every time he come to me, he was smiling, happy. But I never talked to nobody, because I was this kind of girl that keep always to myself. I was aloof and quiet, and how to say, a very retracted, very inhabited, not extrovert but introverted. So I keep it to myself, because I didn't understand what was going on, until one of my sister, who is also a sensitive medium, she's around 15-16 years older than I. She's also medium sensitive. She was, because she passed away last year. I have seen her also. Last year I saw her after she died. She came to my mother one time and told my mother, Mom, I have a vision of my brother, your son. I don't want to tell his name. I have a vision of him, and I saw him in a beach. He was buried alive, and his head was cut off. Oh, sorry, he was not buried alive. He was buried in the sand in the beach, and his head was cut off. I was an autistic child. I don't understand what's going on. I just kept it myself until I grew up, and I put the pieces all together to better understand and absorb all those upheavals. You understand? But my sister couldn't pinpoint where, because the beach, that's where I was born. There are a lot of beaches. I don't know which one else. I don't know. I also never tell them. I never confirm. Yes, I also saw it. I never confirmed, because as I said, I was very kept to myself. Even if I have to suffer whatever, I keep to myself. I never tell, never confide to nobody. Before, not now, before. So he kept on coming to me, and then later my cousins came. He never have seen her in his life because she started to come in our life after like 3-4 years after his passing. She came into our life. I get to know her, and as she came to my mother, she said, um, cousin come in my dreams and he asked for help. He's not in peace, but it's strange that with me he was always happy and smiling, and his head floating up and down the beach. So my mother organized for him a mass. Mass is a Catholic ritual whereby we play a novena where we light candles that last for 1 month for that departed soul. So my mother went there to the church, and then she had that candle, very thick, fat candles lit for like one month, very big, large one, and it kept inside our urn, inside the church itself. So my mother asked the priest to say prayer for him. The priest did prayer for him. What happened was amazing. After that, he kept on still coming to me, and as I was growing older, I felt that presence. I felt that I was being followed and protected. You understand? He was always guarding me. So when I get married, he last came to me. By this time, he was no more on earth. And the prayer that my mother always sent to him worked. What happened? The aliens came and rescue him, as you all call angels. It's not angels. For me, it's aliens. Just they took him away. They went to the hollow earth to him, and then he called me one night after I got married. He came, and then he pushed me. He pushed not me, not my body, the astral ethereal body. He pulled it, and then I come up from the body. See him. He brought me all the way down to hollow earth. It was not November 1983. I was 2 months married, recently married. I was in the range of almost 18-year-old back then. So he pushed me, and then he goes with me. And once we are there, I saw him go inside a jail cell. He was inside a jail cell. And around me, when I turned the back, I'm seeing a lot of beasts, like dinosaurs, roaring around, moving frantically, and guarding the cells. And over there, there were a lot of men, and one of those men was my brother. And he sat down there. I can see as if it was today. I'm here staring at him. The dragons are not looking at me. They cannot see me for some reason. And my brother is there communicating with me telepathically. And then he said the following: he loved you more than a brother. God is not what people make up of it. God is not what your religion tells. And he say, I wish I could help you, but I'm not free yet. And I feel that I just look. And then after that, minutes later, I'm back again to my body. And that was the last time I saw him. I don't know what happened to him. all I know right now, I understand what happened is that they punish your astral body, your consciousness. Once they laser your brain, your mind, not brain, because the brain is a process, it's a physical thing that you need to process the thoughts from the mind, which is all over throughout your meridian. Just they kind of, oh my god, what's this? They a line on the computer, black line, from where it came from. Juice, wow, like a wormy. Juice, they shoot his consciousness, they deleted his consciousness. That's why they sent him to what we call they call it the treatment center, something like that. The treatment center. That thing happens when
From all over the world, people see that this is
that things happen when they decided to erase your memory. Okay, now my name is Mary. Mary finish already her mission. Mary go back over there. They will erase Mary memory, which is not the same as consciousness. For consciousness goes back to source, and what is left? Wait. And what is left is one body there, one, like say a amoebic kind of a body. It doesn't have consciousness of its own. It doesn't discriminate any longer. It's done. So what left is a leftover fraction of what you call the bubble, the causal body, your ghost, if you will. So you turn it a ghost, and over there, depend on several things, your thoughts, your deeds, and also the alien's wishes. You can transform if anything, an insect, a monster, a demon, a frog, whatever. I've seen my sister, she was okay yet. It was around only because it was fresh, she was dead fresh. It had been 2 months since she had gone. I saw her fighting with her ex-husband, and her husband had turned himself into a frog. I've seen my 2 eyes, and they were fighting, and that man was irrecognizable, not just in a shape but also in his consciousness, while she still retained a piece of her. And a deity her was her son, who was still on the earth. He had 41-year-old son, was with her also, and she was angry at him for some reason as well, although they were very close on earth. And I don't know why she called me there, but I was invited there to watch that. And yes, she was in Hades, what you can call purgatory, you can call it hell. She was there. I've seen, but she was fresh because her consciousness had gone, but the personality, the avatar was still there, still fresh, because it takes around maybe 12 months, I would say. Now it is 12 months for totally dissipate when you totally turn into a beast. Okay, so what happens? What is happening is that you don't more recall who you were. You will have your memory of what you were erased. You will not understand who you are, and you're gonna become just a ghost, just a devil, if you will. But then there's people who say, oh, but I have seen heavens, I have seen this and that, but you haven't died. How you know? You haven't died. And even if you had, you are still creating with your mind before it is destroyed, so enjoy it. And you operate within your own hologram of religion's belief, plus the drugs that you take before you leave your body for some reasons. The drugs too will help you create some psychedelic experiences, I would say, psychedelics experiences. So this is what happened. You're gonna lose yourself. You're gonna become just a monster over there. And then there's some, oh, I have seen my father and mother came to me. Yeah, they can do within 12 months after death. Have you seen them after death, after 12 months? If you did, they come completely strange. You cannot communicate with them because they are another person. I have seen my sister mother-in-law. She have died since the 80s. I have seen her. I saw her in 2005, a few years before my mother died. She came to talk about my mother. My mother was about to go. Okay, she was a very religious woman, oldie woman. She died at the 80 plus, but she still regained her consciousness. And she was wearing veil and all that. It was black veil, but she was a religious person. Yeah, you can maintain that identity because maybe you have suffered so much, and then you decide that you want to keep that identity, so that's okay. Or a cope of yourself. There's people who say they have seen their father, their mother. That one's a copy. They always keep a cope. They keep a cope of DNAs of diagnosis or other things. It's a copy, but it's not totally complete. Not 100% conscious of what they say or do. So if you want to talk to them, they will want to say, "Mom, Daddy," they just there like a robot. They are just kind of AI. Okay, they are AI controlled by third parties who owns and controls that place, which is a gang of aliens and the next also comprising. So that's what happened. Death exists. You go back to source. After you want to take out your consciousness, you put inside another body. Yeah, you can, but you're gonna forget. The Mary, the John is gone. Your mother, your father, your grandmother, your friends. That's why the key here is to cherish. Cherish everybody that you have contact if you want to. Because we don't know when the last time, and I mean the last time really. Unless they die today, you die tomorrow. You can meet because you are still creative with the mind. You still keep your consciousness. Once it is gone forever, once the aliens decide to extract your memory, to cause you to have amnesias, that's all. And another thing that this body, the astral body, is not really what we are. Okay, so yeah, there's a death, and we go back to source. That's how I came to this conclusion after intensive studies on the subject.
There is no such thing as death. There never was. Energy never dies, it just changes form. Look at all the cases of near-death, NDE, OBE, encounters from all over the world, and you will see that this is so. Look into the writings of Dan Ion Brinkley or Edgar Cayce, and you will see this truth.
Cayce also worked for them. Okay, Cayce worked for the reincarnationist, for those who controls Earth. That's why I always told you or told those people what the controllers want him to know, and these people to know.
True. Many alien souls have reincarnated as human to assist in this shift in consciousness. We have sought each other out after going within and listening to our inner light, which reminded us of our destiny. We are a collective of individuals from all over and beyond who share a common love and free will. We come and go as we please from form to form, planet to planet, dimension to dimension. I must say that of all the worlds I have rested upon, this one, this time is by far the most frustrating and confusing. To be born here, blinded by birth, is no comfortable start to this life, as I'm sure you well know. Going within, deep inside your soul, you too have found answers to your path this life, and your OWN unique lessons and choices. Once again I say that this human body is merely my vessel and is not me. If I could go back and change my mind about incarnating as human, believe me, I would never have come here. It's far worse than I had thought. Indeed, I was ill-prepared for the reality of being hated by one's own people, humans, for an entire lifetime, perpetually. It hurts me greatly.
People also have hated me, but so what? Why do you care? If you know yourself, why you care about how other people see you, what they say about you? If you know yourself, you are certain of who you are, you will not fear what other people say. It's only when you need their approval so much that you will behave this way, right? And no, you don't exist. We die, finish. We don't exist. Even aliens also subject to death. They also have cycle, okay? They go back, their consciousness of that come back again. They take their astral body or whatever, they put inside again in another vessel. So this is about life. This is about experiment here. So why whining? I think he should have. I believe, I hope that he is learning better now, get more matured, and learn how to absorb all the truths that back then he didn't know. At least his truth.
Greatly, and I hurt every single day of my life for speaking out about who I truly am. Once I chose to begin, there was no turning back, as I'd be failing myself if I did. I can be so terribly lonely from my home at times that I cry for hours to depart from this self-destructive and hate-filled world.
What a whining guy. Me too. I'm alone, but do I care? In fact, I have always been alone. I cherish this moment because it's when I'm alone that I go within and I find a lot of resources inside of me, and I feel that I'm not real alone, even though I'm not lonely. Although I'm alone, I'm not lonely, because there's two different things. I'm alone but never lonely, because I feel that there's beings around me all the time. I go out, also the few beings around me. I'm home, I'm never alone, because I feel there are people around me. Is it schizophrenia? Not real, because if this were true, many other people also would be schizophrenic, and there will be a disclosure soon about aliens, okay? And many people, more and more people come forward to tell their experience. So you want to pinpoint these people as schizophrenic as well? I guess that when you don't have another answer for you don't have the answers for the unavoidable, something that you cannot avoid, something that you cannot even reject, you will come up with excuses, and just label people as crazy, as mentally unstable. This is what many people gets. You understand? Many people get especially from those people who are so dense. All they care about, they think that they're so great thing only because they have a diploma, a doctorate, they got money. And for them, what matters most is high, fine dining, fine cars, cigar, fine whiskey, fine wine, okay, and travel, sex. They don't care about anything else. So they live in a cocoon of their own and they are not the owner of the truth. Not at all.
World. I hate to feel this pain and suffer so much while living here and being so powerless to help others who are so hate-filled towards myself and others like me, but I can only do my best to continue. I really hope you feel this deep within your heart and understand what I say to you right now. I am a peaceful soul, that there is no doubt. Let me give you an easy example of how these interdimensional beings operate. Imagine being a radio, try to anyway, locked onto only ONE signal due to years of genetic hardware manipulation from long ago, blind to the existence of other stations or signals, yet they are just as real, just as physical. All you are aware of is ONE reality, the visual one, and anything outside of that reality just doesn't exist, period. It's easy to stay in power with abilities that simply do not exist to us, that seem like science fiction and conspiracy theory. You can't see radio waves, yet you are told they exist, and have accepted this as your reality through years of working with these energies utilizing tools such as radio and TV receivers. Very simple. It's very easy to dismiss something that someone says is real when the listener, i.e., you, does not even know about such things. You might think these stories out of this world at first until you become educated in otherworldly affairs and the science which proves the existence of other dimensions. Cosmic string theory is.
We must understand that back then, sadly even nowadays, you see we are in 2022. Many people are still not ready for the shift. Many people are still sleepwalking. And we are in 2022. Imagine back then, 2007, 2006, about 16 years ago. Right? Just how much more you wanted them to know. These people are living in their own fantasies about religion. They have a hologram and they cannot think beyond the box and beyond that which was passed to him. It's already very firmly rooted in their psyche and all of their being, in their DNA. It's a kind of imprint.
Is OLV news to interdimensional beings? These interdimensional controllers and their great work appears like magic to us because we don't know any better. Natives dazzled by a simple matchstick. Take UFOs for instance, are they truly from another star system? Or are they from somewhere much closer, a parallel
They are from below the earth, the bases there, the network of caves.
dimension? To the interdimensional beings it's a simple science of control. All that is about to change though. Scientists have admitted that the appearance of physical density is just an illusion, and in fact we are all living, evolving patterns of energy. Now at last science is catching up to what the remaining native shaman always knew. We are actually 90% empty space and use only 10% of our genetic code as well as our brains. What if the rest of our DNA was switched back on? We'd suddenly see, feel and live with the rest of the beings that also inhabit the same space as us right now. By the law of energy movement, the remaining 90% of us could carry the other 10%, our physical selves, to other levels or states of being resonance, including travel to other worlds. Ever hear the description of a UFO's interior? There was a complete lack of knobs or physical controls. Only a central core which could hold some unknown type of energy.
There is a complete lack of knobs and physical controls on a central core which could hold some unknown type of energy was even visible. Oh, that is a modern one. The older one I have seen panel in 1983. Those ones, the old type one, that kind of metallic and a kind of quite round and tall, and a kind of metallic, like a silvery, something like that, something silvery. And the room, the control panel was very small, narrow. There were control. I have seen the lights. I remember the chair being like a leather and brown color. The second time round, it was a kind of a big, ample, modern mothership. Very white this time around. Very white. Belonged to a Zeta. A very fish, fatty and sorry Zeta with a vampire. Woman, like Asian woman vampire. Chinese. They were very aggressive with me. Very disrespectful. But I have to use some power to keep them away because they knew who I am. So this time around the mothership was bigger. They had the panel on front and below here far away there was the the saloon, and below they open up the bottom of the spacecraft. And well, it ended up when they threatened me to send me to hell below, and I just couldn't take anymore. And well, they just couldn't take me. They themselves went to hell. I returned to my body. So this kind of modern spaceship, they are operated by impression, by what they call a blueprint, something like that, a print, blueprint. Okay, you leave your signature there, your DNA, and they will operate. Sometimes if a thought, they are programmed by thought. The ETs know by now. They are so advanced in technology that they use their mind to program their spaceship to move, to travel at will as they please. And some of them are programmed to go and not return. or even to return without the owner inside. Is a automatic one, and they return by either telepathic power or by print, the imprint or blueprint of their owner. It's very incredible technology, which is not here yet on Earth.
Energy was even visible. Think about that one a minute.
Think about that 1 minute.
No knobs or controls. Who needs them if your mind takes you where you want to go?
Exactly.
Project Bluebeam. For years this rogue black budget team has been perfecting the projection of hologram technology in the form of UFO sightings. Some of these sightings are reported on UFO witness programs to catalog and monitor the public's readiness for a staged alien invasion. Remember, some ships, UFOs, shot down by the military using HAARP. They use the massive amount of particulates in the atmosphere to bounce lasers off of which in turn draw a UFO in the air itself. Mexico City has been the hotbed of sightings due to its high level of usable particulates within this hologram technology. Now the chemtrails have reduced visibility to 1/5 the former level on a worldwide scale. The stage has been set now for global use. Project Bluebeam can make these objects appear solid, and many are drawn during the day to enhance the effectiveness of public reaction. If these objects become a threat, the planned reaction is to band the planet's people together under one world government to fight off the alien invaders. Remember that this plan goes way back, long before Ronald Reagan's big speech at a televised United Nations meeting. I often wonder if our differences, worldwide, would vanish if we were faced with an alien threat from outside this world. And I ask you now, is not an alien force already among us? Remember that one? Think about it. It's part of a global agenda. Of course, the officials talk about all this stuff constantly. Clinton, Bush, you name it, they deal with it. They engineered many black budget organizations to deal with these subjects. NSA, CIA. Global warming affects our entire solar system. Planets not to scale. All of these atmospheric and auroral changes are caused by magnetic changes from within each planet, which is triggered by our own sun's recent changes. Global warming is not limited to the Earth presently, and we know that our levels of pollution here on Earth are obviously not affecting Pluto's magnetic field or orbital path. So this whole blame game on human pollution as the cause just doesn't add up. Crop circles.
Yeah, it's all shenanigans.
Circles, aponoastos. Recently a crop circle researcher decided to go so far as to carve out the words, "Talk to US," in a nearby field where many agroglyphs are formed on a regular basis near Stonehenge in England. The response was staggering. A crop circle appeared which was in the form of ancient Freemasonic secret text, and it read, "Ponoastos." Translation of this 800-year-old secret Masonic text is, "We are opposed to cunning and deceit." How's that for strange? Another appeared shortly after that one which read, "This is the place of the serpent." What do you think they are attempting to tell humanity? About the same time there were a series of agroglyphs, which were an exact match of the designs of Nikola Tesla's research patterns. What do you think these messages mean? Time to wake up, dear sleeper, and put the pieces together. All of the pieces. A Council for Peace has been established for Contact Day, CORA, the Council on Human Reptilian Allegiance. Those of us who have collected together within this group know that not all reptilians are evil. Rather, both good and evil exists in all beings, human and non-human. We have worked on realistic solutions to these global problems before this becomes another war. We are prepared and awaiting Contact Day now with hopeful hearts so that CORA can fulfill its destiny. Knowledge is power, ignorance can be fatal bliss. I have written a book, still being compiled and edited, about my personal experiences in the above subjects, including my own reptilian contact story, which started me on my journey so long ago. And I'm just getting started still. I have also created many groups, organizations, and lists where many of you have shared your own adventures with me in a collective effort to regain what we once had. This site has seen many different phases of my research. Many of you have also shared with me your own reawakening stories, to which I am very thankful. It's nice to see so many awake spirits on Earth right now, because at times there are so few truly enlightened people at all. It's damn depressing for me to wake up most days. Silence is not the answer to change one's reality. Action is the true path of the spiritual warrior. Action is your sword of truth, and love is your ship to carry you forward. Be brave, pass this page on to those who you feel are able to deal with this information, and who can respect others, and mostly themselves enough to not just read this, but who can bypass their ridicule, programming, and understand what is really going on and to act like a mature adult, a mentally balanced, spiritually activated species. It's never easy to express one's inner self with any great ease. So I will use another analogy. Please rent the movie Final Fantasy if you desire to see an example of what I'm attempting to communicate with you. It's about spirit, hope, peace, and inner strength to face the future under some amazing circumstances, but most of all it's about waking up to a new paradigm from within each and every one of us. A new world begins. Constant danger. Why do I sacrifice myself thusly, giving up a more normal life for one of personal danger, great risk, and many sleepless nights? Why bother to remember anything about my spiritual past? Why observe these patterns and changes in the world? Why bother to help any of you with what I know? Good question. The thing is, I'm doing it, not sitting around and discussing or debunking what others are doing. Plus, it's a known fact that the more I share this type of information with you, the better chances we all have of making global contact with my people or any positive ET race out there somewhere. I can't wait for the day when massive ships fill the skies and I can show you what we have all been speaking of for years now. But until that day happens, I'm stuck here living as one of you whether I like it or not. Get used to me, I'm a terribly verbal punk lizard, and I'm rather proud about my personal liberations in all avenues of life, and I'm even more proud of my spiritual connections to my home world. Nothing can come between myself and my people. Nothing. Please don't engage their wrath if you chose to attack us in any way. I've witnessed people vanish, or worse, for attacking me openly, even verbally. We protect our love for each other by whatever means we chose. Be warned. I struggle with many unseen things daily. I am up against the Illuminati themselves, and am harassed at almost every turn in various ways, sometimes daily, yet I survive, because my heart is pure and my heart.
You see, guy, this person here is so like dual. He is not being consistent to what he preaches. Like, he comes up and is so fearful. He cares too much what other people say or do, when he should be concerned in what he's being rather than the other being, isn't it? And it's not about himself, it's about others, so why should he care? He talks about love and yet he threatens others. He come here to pass the message of love and yet he threatens others. He come up with energy so fearful, so negative as well, of threatening. Why he should threaten people for? I mean, he's not the one doing this kind of work. And worse is those who post on the YouTube or the areas like TikTok, and not in this website. This website is nothing. Not many people visit this website. On YouTube it's more exposed, it's more open for everybody to come in and see. Just video website and not this kind of a blog like that, isn't it? So why he's worried so much if he's a lizard, real lizard? Why he's scared so much out of his wits to do his project? And then instead he kind of is so fearful that he threaten other people. That's not nice. That's not the way how we should spread message.
Path is true. I feel no need to attack those who do not attack myself of my people. I don't trust easily, even though I want to trust. I consider us all connected to the Source, Creator, or God, at the highest level of existence. So as I am helping you, I am also helping myself. This is called the law of One, which goes all the way back to Atlantis, before the great fall of man. I am all things as a you. I am my own ET contact back in the past, and SHE is ME now, today. I have been beaten physically. Emotionally, and yes, even spiritually, at times by people I formerly trusted, in their attempt to silence my work. I have learned to keep my distance from many strangers as a result of abused trust, yet I persist on my spiritual path. Earth humans are very dangerous, that's the bottom line. Opinions can ruin someone's life, like they have mine, because humanity still childishly behaves like a brat that might as well deserve the spanking that it's about to receive.
Wow, and that was in 2006, and he started to threaten. And imagine, wow, and it really happened, many things, many spanking.
Humanity thrives on being cruel towards draco reptilians for the most part, although don't say that to a human's face. What
are you saying, dude? What you are saying? Many people are very proud to say that they are Draco. A lot of them. Tell you those who can analyze Dracos, they are so happy to say, oh, I'm a Draco. I come from my monad is this and that. I come from Orion or whatever. Although the drakes not specifically from Orion, they say they come from Orion. All these people who canalize beings, they become kind of paranoid and they think they are actually those beings because those beings like to play with your emotions.
Existence threatens many right here in Vancouver, Canada, to the point where they are constantly making death threats towards myself and my friends. How pathetic can they get? Related information.
I hope nothing happened to this person so far.
Problem.
I hope nothing really happened to her or him, whatever. Because that death threat is very serious. It should be investigated. It's very, really serious. I hope that this person is okay. It has been 16 years so far.